Hey, Chris Lipe here with the isolated vocals for Avenged Sevenfold, M Shadows, and Jimmy the Rev. This is an amazing song, Afterlife. I'm really excited to get into this one with you. There's so many textures we can explore with our voice and some neat production things going on.
I don't belong here, we gotta move on, dear. Escape from this afterlife, 'cause this time I'm right to move on and on. Far away from here, got nothing against you, and surely I miss you. This place full of peace and light, and I hope you might take me back inside when the time is right.
Without much further discussion, let's just get right into these. And if you want more help with your own voice, make sure you visit my website, chrislipe.com, or click the link below and join my free voice course. And I can help you a lot with your own voice and production. Let's do this.
Like walking into a dream, so unlike what you've seen, so unsure but it seems like we've been waiting for you. Falling into this place, just giving you a small taste of your afterlife. Here, so stay, you'll be back as soon anyway.
Okay, now.
I see a distant light, my girl, this can't be right.
Let's just talk really quick about production and placement. There's clear doubling going on here, right?
We've been waiting, so unsure but it seems.
We've got panned out. There's not a center image so much. And then we've got this.
I see a distant light.
Really key to keep in mind as we go through the rest of this. The placement and how things are spread across the stereo spectrum vocally is really important to what makes this work with all the orchestrations and other things in the song. But let's talk a little bit about M Shadow's approach to compression and grit. He approaches it differently than a lot of people, especially in these recordings. And he's had problems with his voice. The way he does it is hard on your voice live. But we can borrow some of what he does and place it in a little healthier way and still get some really neat sounds. So the first way to sort of get into the Shadows vibe is to talk like an old man. Yeah, if you talk like an old man, you're holding back air in a certain way. I mean, we're not adding distortion to our voice just yet, but we're focusing on that. We're holding back air, just like I've talked about in other videos, but we're doing it lower in our voice. Now, if we're going to do this the right way, in a way that doesn't trash our voice in the matter of seconds, we're going to compress in two ways. Old man and stage whisper, which you've heard me talk about before. And we're going to combine those two. So this is hard to coordinate, and don't try it once and say, I can't do it. Try it in short increments over lots of days, and gradually the muscle memory will start to help you master this. We're just going to say the word place, place. Now, I'm going to go from this, place. I'm going to transition, place. What I did is I raised the sensation of holding back air to higher in my throat. Place, place, as I changed the vowel in that word around. Place, ace, ace. Now, I'm going to just feel that difference and try to keep the tone in there a bit more. Place, place, place. So I'm feeling the difference between the two. Now, I'm going to try to keep a little bit of the old man sensation and engagement while adding more of the whisper stage high engagement over it. And again, if you want more help dialing this stuff in, that's what my courses are for. I don't want to go too deep here because it would be a very, very long video. Place, 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 place. And then we want to have a very long... We don't want to be doing this. This is not nasal so much. But listen.
I see a
different light. That's very different than this. I I see a different light. It's also very different than this. I see a different light. It's a combination of the two. And getting this balance right is not too much old man and enough stage whisper. Getting that balance right is going to help us do this over multiple songs or do it in moderation for a whole set or a whole recording session without trashing our voice. But the balance is really hard to get. You can really easily trash your voice by taking this approach. All right, let's listen on.
I see a distant light. My girl, this can't be right. Such a surreal place to see. So how did this come to be? Arrive to Wally.
You really hear the two different approaches, right? Like,
Arrive to Wally.
especially right here.
Be right.
Right!
Be right.
You hear the and the going at the same time.
To Wally. And when I think of all the places I just don't belong, I've come to grips with life and realize this is going too far.
Now, I love that. Going too far.
And when I think of all the places I just don't belong.
Very different vocal posture, right? And when I think about the places I just don't belong. Hey, yeah! The layers between these two characters, these two voices, is incredible. When they're, because you hear it on the chorus, you hear that stuff going on, and then you hear stuff going over it. Super cool.
Too far. I don't belong here. We got.
You hear this character,
I've come to grips with life and realize.
and then you hear it in the harmonies.
I don't belong here. We gotta move on here. Escape from this afterlife. Cause this time I'm right to move on and on. Far away from here.
Now there's doubling going on there, but listen.
Move on and on.
Even on that, to move on and on, there's a little bit of that old man compression in there. To move on and on. But because of the doubling, it's got this nice sheen over it. Then here, I love this every time I listen to it.
Far away from here.
There's this sense of abandon that happens in this line, right? Where he gets into that really gritty thing at the end. Far away from here! Where he's using that compression, and then he's abandoned. That's what's happening. Whether he knows what's happening or not, he is letting his voice fall apart, and that's what's triggering that extreme vocal breakup. And it's so fun to experiment with that. From here! The Rev does that kind of stuff really well, too. Moving on.
Place of hope and no pain. Perfect skies and no rain. Can't leave this place but refrain.
I love the attitude here. Leave this place but refrain, right?
Perfect skies and no rain.
Rain. He is nasally there, right? But he's got that raspier. It's like two different characters within one line.
Perfect skies and no rain. Perfect skies and no rain.
Perfect skies with no perfect skies. Perfect skies with no rain. Exaggerate those things in your own voice and see what happens when you do it. Perfect skies with no rain. So much more interesting than just one guy or one character, right? Perfect skies with no rain. That sounds a bit pretentious, but there's almost this flippancy that happens here. Perfect skies with no rain. It's really a lot more interesting. It might feel weird when you're doing this and sound weird to you, but this is what makes great voices interesting. That variance in resonance and expression.
No rain, can't leave this place but refrain. Cause we've been waiting for you.
Cause we've been waiting for you. I love that.
Falling into this place, just giving you a small taste of your afterlife here, so stay. You'll be back as soon anyway. This piece on us not right.
Again, that difference in placement. You got vocal doubling, and then you've got single.
This piece on us not right. With my back against the wall. No pain, no sign of time. I'm much too young to fall.
That's kind of cool. Center, pans, really interesting vocal scape. You can also hear the Roomies recording in a little bit here, which I kind of like.
Right. With my back against the wall. No pain, no sign.
With a back against the wall!
Too young to fall. So out of place, don't wanna stay. I feel wrong and that's my sign. I made up my mind. Gave me your hand but realize I just wanna say goodbye. Please understand I have to leave and carry on my own life. I don't believe
Love the harmony. Notice how they start with that H.
my own life. I don't belong here. I gotta move on, dear.
Some high stuff in there. Right?
I gotta move on, dear. Escape from this afterlife. Cause this time I'm right to move on and on. Far away from here. Got nothing.
Now, this is really interesting, and you saw this at the beginning. This right here,
Got nothing.
it doesn't sound like they're taking a breath. And when I did my little demonstration at the beginning,
Got nothing.
that's really hard to do. I mean, here, got nothing. I mean, you gotta just, yeah, difficult stuff.
Nothing against you, and surely I'll miss you. This place full of peace and light, and I'd hoped you might take me back inside when the time is right.
Ugh. So part of what makes this arrangement, the vocal arrangement, work is the two different very nasal, very bright, contrasted with far away, got nothing, that sort of sound. If we were to do it on the same note, because there are some of the same notes that go in and out of that melody versus the backing vocals. That's a really good thing for us to do. Practice taking one note and switching it up it's the same note, but we're singing it and approaching it with different compression, with different resonance, different vowels. Everything about it is different.
I pray by the grace of God that there's somebody listening. Give me
One of my favorite moments of any song ever.
Give me a chance to be that person I wanna be. Oh Lord, I'll try so hard, but you can't.
Have to stop so the algorithm doesn't kill the video, but listen.
So hard, but you gotta let go of me.
And how he comes out of that note. Oh, one of the greatest recorded moments in all of vocal history in a backing vocal part. I'm broken that I couldn't get that isolated, that the guitars and stuff are still there. Oh, still, you can still hear it a little bit better. Let's talk a little bit more about the Rev's approach here. We're going to start clean. The Rev's approach, his voice and the way he uses his voice is very different. He's in this mixed, squeezed, higher resonance than M Shadows is. So if we listen here,
Give me a chance.
we're going to whine it first. I am. And let your voice kind of crack and don't worry about being precise with it at all. This right here is a lot more Cornelian than it is Hetfieldian. And M Shadows is much more Hetfieldian. Anyway, thin your voice out, get the pitches.
Give me a chance.
I am very nasal. Still, I am. This is mix. Row, row. I've talked about the dying cat. do the dying cat here. Listen.
Give me a chance to be cat.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to add more compression, but we're also going to invoke the vocal break in the midst of our mix. This is really difficult to do, and there's lots of coordinations going on here, but I'm going to do my best to concisely package them together for you.
Give me a chance.
We're going to allow our voice to break in the midst of this. Oh, there it is! Oh, I am! I'm broken! That's what he's doing. It's this combination of dying cat whine and then on the verge of completely falling apart. Oh, right? But we're adding enough compression and keeping our mixed voice posture, the dying cat posture, in place. All these muscles and tissues are aligned to deliver this kind of sound. If you want more help with this, my courses dive more deeply into these kinds of coordinations and help you practice them.
Give me a chance to be that person I wanna be.
You have to start thin, nasal. Let your voice fall apart. Ugh.
But I'll try so hard, but you gotta let go.
Best line ever. Listen to how that note it deforms, right? And it gets he goes into the complete scream thing. The note kind of goes away. It's so amazing. Listening again just because I want to. And you can even hear, I didn't hear this until I started listening to the isolated vocals. Listen here. It's almost like he goes, ah, and then lets it trail off. But it's that push up to the ah, that helps his voice start to fall apart. Okay, just like we did before, let's get this clean first. I need another chance to lie. Wow! Wow! Okay, let's check our tone.
You gotta let go.
I need another chance to lie. Okay, and then we're gonna assume that I was right, and then he pushes up a little bit there. You hear the panning go like this production-wise too. So I don't know, it's hard to hear, but it doesn't matter if I'm wrong. What matters is that I'm putting this in my own voice and experimenting with it a little bit more. I need another chance to lie. Let's get there. Let's bring in the destruction. I need more nasality. I need another chance to lie. We're getting there. What I need to make sure that I do is not give too much compression too soon as I'm dialing this in. And then I also need to let my voice fall apart not as soon. I'm broken! I need another chance to lie! Getting those textures and blending them in together. Oh, it's really fun to experiment with these different sounds and put them in your own voices. Don't hold yourself to the Revs standard. Instead, see what happens with your own voice. And don't burn yourself out too much. Listen to your body as you're experimenting with these things. Take the experimental sessions in very short increments. I'm fairly certain they looped that part of that other scream and are just letting that go. You know, they distorted it and they're letting it go over these other laughter sounds. It's pretty cool. Quite a scream either way, even if they did artificially lengthen it.
I don't belong here, I gotta move on here. Escape from this afterlife.
I love the way his voice breaks up on the this. That's so cool.
Cause this time I'm right to move on and on. Far away from here. Got nothing against you, and surely I'll miss you. This place full of peace and rain. And I hope you might take me back inside when the time is right.
I love how he falls off that last note. Right! Right! When the time is right! Letting yourself kind of trail off and becoming a different person at the end of your phrase. That's a really, really key thing to remember when we are doing any kind of singing. How can we grow or show growth within the midst of a phrase? Tell a story within the midst of a phrase or a note. Creating different opportunities for different vocal textures to come out within the same note. That's why these artists, that's why these singers both are so good. I hope you've enjoyed this breakdown of one of my favorite songs, particularly from a vocal perspective, and a lot because of the rev. Thanks for hanging out. Be sure to leave questions in the comments and suggestions in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this video. And again, if you'd like more help with your own vocals, click that link below, join my free course, or head over to chrislipe.com and request an invitation to my course. We'll see you for more.